Hi there, I'm back again as promised with the land use bylaws for Clearwater County. This is just kind of a template or an informational session to help people understand what they're about, what we can do about it, and how to understand it and understand what they're trying to get done through the counties and municipalities. So number one, the first thing we have to understand when we're reading this is page 1, what this bylaw is actually about. So it states the purpose of this bylaw is to prohibit or regulate and control the use and development of land and buildings within the municipality to achieve the orderly development of land. And for that purpose, amongst other things. Now, these other things are as follows. A, to divide the municipality into districts. I kind of want to ask why. I think that's an important question to bring up. Why do we have to divide into districts? Why is the existing template that we're using not working anymore? Why the changes? B, to prescribe and regulate for each district the purpose for which land and buildings may be used. So again, why do they need to prescribe and regulate to these stringent degrees that I'm concerned about? Understanding the terminology here is key. The wording that's used in this thing is actually very vague and it's non-specific. So number one, after you've written down your concerns with the glossary, because there should be one, in part 1, it will go through short titles, previous bylaw, effect and application of the bylaw. Then you'll move further down into the pages here. And it talks about, it gives you definitions of the land use and all sorts of different terminology. So what they describe as an apartment, a basement, a bed and breakfast, beekeeping is on here, all sorts of different things, permits, just so you guys understand the language they're using, when they're using it, how they're using it, and what it means to them, because what it means to them may be a completely different thing than what it actually means to the average citizen. So that's important to know. Do your homework on that before you start digging into this bylaw. So once you have done that, and you understand the terminology, and if you don't, write it down and question, because these are the questions you guys deserve to have answered. So the wording it's pretty vague, it's pretty strange. After you have all of that written down, I think you start with part 2, the authorities, and understanding these authorities is crucial, because that's who's actually going to put this stuff through into the stages of enforcement. One of the things that I wanted to focus on going through this quickly was part 6. I'm jumping ahead and I'll be jumping around in this thing quite a bit. But part 6, general parcel and development regulations. This is something that applies to everybody. And as I've said before, the county documents kind of seem pretty cookie cutter across the province, which doesn't make sense because our province is so diverse in resources that this cookie cutter approach isn't gonna work. Okay, sorry guys, I had to stop there for a minute to take a phone call, but now we're back at it here. So where I left off, it's important to understand that the development officer is actually the one that's in control of enforcing these bylaws when they do go through in your local county. The CAO, which is the Chief Administrative Officer, he or she actually gets to designate the development officer. So keep in mind that none of these are elected officials. These are people that are appointed and put into place. Development officer's job is to enforce these bylaws as an authorized person of the council. And this team is called the MPC, Municipal Planning Commission. And they get to authorize all these duties specified within this bylaw. So now we'll jump ahead to part 6. This is something that I had a concern with right from the get-go because of our economic problem we've got going on in Alberta, and so many families needing to move in with each other, homelessness, all of that sort of thing. Number 6, part 6, is parcel and development regulations. So because more and more families are being pushed to live together because of inflation, mismanagement of our resources to begin with, and if you want to go back to the whole cause of it all, this is what is very concerning to me. keep this question in mind as I'm reading through this stuff. Why should we have to prove it is necessary to move into a temporary residence? Is that not a breach of privacy? And then as we get moving into this, you'll understand why I find that such a concern. So the biggest issue here is the number of dwelling units allowed per parcel. And also, as a condition of development approval for the construction or location on a parcel of land of a temporary dwelling to serve as a bona fide need, the owner of the parcel of land shall be required, A, to sign an agreement annually attesting to the bona fide need remains the same. So every year you're going to have to explain, yeah, it's really important to me. My son has to live here because he's got a medical condition, and you actually are going to have to provide the bona fide need for that. Is that the Canada that you guys envision for your children? B, to sign an agreement that when the bona fide need no longer exists, the temporary residence shall be removed or converted to a use as an ancillary building as provided for in the development permit, and to provide acceptable security to the satisfaction of the county to ensure the terms of the agreement are carried out. Now, why is looking after your parents, grandkids, etc., or wanting to live and work with a bona fide need needing to be proved? Why do you need to prove that when this parcel of land is already yours? They move into number of dwelling units allowed per parcel. Number 1, except as otherwise provided for in this section, not more than 1 dwelling unit shall be allowed on a parcel of land in a district in which a residence is permitted. Number 2, no second or additional dwelling unit may be constructed or placed on a parcel of land unless a development permit for such a purpose has been issued. Now keep in mind, a permit is just asking for permission, and to get a permit and apply for a permit, you are paying. Effectively, you are paying to ask for permission. It doesn't even mean they are going to grant it. Number 3, a development permit application for a second residence to be constructed or located on a parcel of land in an agricultural district containing a minimum of 32 hectares, 80 hectares, 32 hectares, and then in brackets 80 hectares shall be approved if the second residence is located in the same yard as the principal residence, unless another location is approved by the development officer, and B, the site criteria in this section and any other applicable provisions in the land use bylaw and municipal development plan are met to the satisfaction of the development officer. So this is going to be sticky in each individual county based on farmland, conservation, all sorts of things like that. What each community needs to actually be doing is having meetings, and I don't think council meetings right off the bat. Go have town hall meetings, go over this stuff in small groups with your community, decide what you guys think fits best for your area, and then take it to county. When you're organized and you guys have gone through all of the steps, take it to county, go through with your concerns, go through with the things that you think are good, go through the things that you think are bad, because again, this cannot be a cookie cutter answer for every single county. So the people, us, have to go through this stuff with a fine-tooth comb. Get the county to rewrite your bylaws where you see there is a problem, because it can be done, and they will do it. They will listen. They will hear you, because they're part of this. They're going to be affected by these bylaws as well. So they do need to hear from you. But this is such a big document that going through this at one county council meeting isn't going to be enough. So get your people together, sit down, go over it together, pick out what you think will be good, what you think the major concerns are, and start from there. But understand your terminology. That's the biggest thing. These things, like, it's an 80-page document. They're huge. They're huge. Look at 80 pages. 80 pages for the land use bylaw. 80 pages. Go through it. There's no way you can go through that in a couple of county council meetings and have that stuff all pushed through and not actually, it's not being looked at closely enough. And that's where we, the people, have to come into play and hold it to account. One of the things that actually just fell out of my binder when I was pulling this out to go through and do this little video here was the Alberta Bill of Rights. Interestingly enough, I was flipping through it just to refresh my mind, and what I came across here, and you guys should all order one of your own. You can get it off of the Alberta Queen's printer. Shop online at www.qp.alberta, spelled all alberta.ca, to order your copy of your Alberta Bill of Rights, because our county gets this legislation down from Alberta. So keep in mind, recognition and declaration of rights and freedoms. Number 1, it is hereby recognized and declared that in Alberta there exists without discrimination by reason. So I kind of feel like it's discrimination if you have to prove you're living in poverty to put up a temporary residence and then go forward and ask the development officer, is it okay? I don't know. I'd kind of feel discriminated against if they said no, because that would be on discrimination based on God knows what, because where are they getting their authority from? The right of the individual to liberty, security of the person, and enjoyment of property. And the right not to be deprived thereof except by process of law, by due process of law. B, the right of the individuals to equality before the law and the protection of the law. C, freedom of religion. D, freedom of speech. E, freedom of assembly and association, which is very important that we do right now. So yeah, have your town hall meetings, discuss this stuff with each other in not a formal way. After the discussion has been done, then yes, take it to the formality and go forward with your county one-on-one, or with your educated group of people, now that you understand a little bit more of, make sure you understand their terminology, because that's where they'll get you. F, the freedom of press. Why? I have to ask, why is this so hard to come by? We don't see this printed out in the newspaper, little sections of it. Why is it not out there? Because guess what? Our largest voting majority of the population are the baby boomers. How do they get their information? From the newspapers. We don't see it in there. We see it, oh, you can access it online. They don't want to be doing it online, and if they do, they don't even know it's available, how to navigate it, how to get it. So I suggest trying to get as much of this printed in your local papers as possible, just so that it reaches a wide range of voting members and concerned citizens. We have to get this across the board. We have to get it out there. You can go to your council office and get a copy. You can pick up a paper copy, ask them to print it off for you, and go from there, because freedom of press. And then G, the right of parents to make informed decisions respecting the education of their children. And then as it goes further on down and everything. But I mean, keep this thing on hand when you're going through this stuff, because it's going to come in handy. You're going to need it. And yeah, apply it to all of see how it applies and how you can apply it to the bylaws down here that you feel infringe upon your rights, because not all of them do. Some of them are put there for the good. Some of them are put there looking good. But when you take the future into account, it may not be very good for the future of your children and your children's children, because what we do right now has a direct effect on the future. If we are building future, this is the time to start thinking about what we want, and this is the time to make your voices heard. Thank you so much. I'll be doing another video on another section of this county bylaw stuff. I'll have to listen to what everybody wants to hear about and where we go from there. So thanks for your time, and see you again in about 2 weeks' time. Bye-bye.